News You Need is a look at current events and how they affect the college community and beyond. News You Need is sponsored by USM Partners for the Arts. And now here's the host of News You Need, Dr. Ed Simpson.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another exciting edition of News You Need. This is the program where we talk to the best human beings in the whole world, which is our USM students. And so first of all, as usual, we'll start a little bit about, well, what is this show all about? This show is about talking with our students about the issues in the news, and the reason we care is that news is the weather report for your society, right? It allows you to see what's coming at you as a citizen, as a member of the community, so you can make decisions, right? So in order for us to be a self-governing society, we have to know about the issues that we are facing as a society and as a community. So that's why we talk about the news. So let's get going this morning with introduce yourselves and tell me what group you're with. Lorenzi?
My name is Lorenzi Rogers, and I am the leader of the Public Relations and Advertisement team.
Okay, my name is Bailey Broom, and I am the student director of StratCom.
My name is Jada Austin, and I am the team lead of the social media team.
Oh, excellent. So for those of you that aren't quite yet familiar with our Strategic Communication Division, they are part of the Student Media Center, and that currently the StratCom division is set up with 3 teams: social media, public relations, and advertising. So these folks are in charge of various aspects of that. So guys, tell me, how's it going in the Strategic Communication Division? What do we got going on? What's coming up?
Well, it's been going very, very great this semester. I think this was definitely a great addition. We're working on some campaigns that will not only involve the students that are in our department, but also get students all around the campus more aware of Southern Miss student media. We want them to become involved and engaged in what we have going on in the building.
Yeah, and to add on to that, we're really just trying to reach out to students and make sure that they can figure out like what we're doing here and who we are, why we do what we do, and opportunities for them to join.
I would say we're definitely pushing that through social media and allowing our followers to see what we're doing through social media. So whenever we have a campaign, all of that is advertised through our different social media platforms.
Yeah, so that's great. I love this. This is a part of the whole school's initiative to be a much bigger player on campus, and you guys are key players in that. So super appreciate it. Super appreciate you being here. So the last couple of weeks, our students on the show have actually talked about something you all probably know more about than I do, which is TikTok. So there's been ongoing movement now. It's going across the country. Mississippi banned it from state-issued devices about a month ago. The federal government is now talking about broadening it to all federal devices as opposed to some more of the narrow thing. So what do you all think about that? And how are we as a social media operation kind of dealing with that? Have you thought much about it yet?
I'll tell you personally, I do disagree with it. I think the ban of TikTok on campus doesn't quite make a lot of sense as it's a public platform. The Wi-Fi is also a public platform. And then within, me working with it, I'm still allowed to post on TikTok. But it is just slightly annoying that now I have to use my own data and my own personal information to be able to promote SM2. And it hasn't quite created a couple of struggles yet, but I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So the idea is you can still promote public stuff, but you can't use public infrastructure to do it. Isn't that a little bizarre?
Yeah, that's my main issue with it. It's funny, I actually got a text message from my aunt this morning asking if she should delete TikTok because of...
What'd you tell her?
I haven't really answered her yet, but no, I don't think so. I think there's other platforms that are doing the same thing within the United States, and I think the biggest issue that our government is facing with it is the fact that it's China and not the USA.
Yeah. It's all fascinating. Okay, so what are our USM students talking about? Is there any headlines in the news that our students are excited about, they're chatting about with each other? Is been a pretty big news week.
And yet I'm struggling to come up with things. I only know things that are going on, like, on campus and within really Greek life and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
sure. Well, what's going on campus that you all care about? Now, usually sports comes up pretty quick.
You
Are
know,
you guys
I'm not
watching
really a
the
big
basketball
sports
team?
person.
No?
No.
Oh, me neither.
I'm more of a
Oh, yeah, see, me neither.
I'm
Yeah.
more of a football person than a basketball person, so I kind of have no idea in that
Yeah.
perspective.
So both of our regular listeners to this show know this is not the place where you come for sports information, because I don't know anything about it. I do know that everybody's very excited about the basketball team, and we are playing in the tournament, and we are, I believe, seeded number 2, Devontae. Are we seeded number 2? So that's exciting. A lot of people are watching that. And I'm guessing you guys are not going to the tournament because you don't know.
I mean, I'm willing to. I do like basketball. Basketball is my favorite sport. So.
Okay,
yeah.
there you go. All right, excellent. Anything else on campus that you're watching that you care about?
Spring break.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Of
That's
course, everybody is anticipating spring break. After that really hard fought Mardi Gras. Now we are careening into spring break, and so where are we going? Are we going anywhere?
I'm going to Gulf Shores.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's not. You don't need a plane for that.
No.
I don't-
I'm actually going to Austin, Texas. So
you really?
for a
Austin?
concert, I'm very excited.
Who?
SZA. Do you know
Yeah,
SZA?
all right.
Okay. Love her.
Yeah, so old people. That's someone old people do not know. Gotcha.
I would.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm gonna just do some basic traveling close by and some shopping with my aunt. That's probably about all.
Okay, well that sounds like a good spring break. Yeah, so as usual this time of the semester everybody's going, ugh.
Yeah.
We just want to get to spring break. And you guys are in midterms, I assume?
Yes. Well,
Yes,
next week
next
mostly.
week, yeah.
but
Yeah, okay. And I'm sure we're all ready for that, and that's all very exciting.
Oh yes.
Okay, so now something did happen this morning that a lot of people are chatting about. Did you guys catch it on any of your stuff? The Alex Murdaugh verdict came in. Have you guys been following this trial at all? It's been on every single news outlet everywhere. This is the South Carolina attorney who was charged with killing his wife and son. He was sentenced to 2 life sentences without parole today.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Do you guys care?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I do. I kind of forgot about it, but I did follow it for a while, and I guess it just kind of dropped the ball in my head. But yeah, I really care a lot, because I mean, I think it's something to keep in mind, and for me it makes me wonder, like, you should definitely be cautious of people, no matter their titles or
How
not
close
like,
they are to you.
yes,
Yeah.
like
Dad, what are you doing over there?
yes.
Yeah, that's well, there you go. That is an interesting take. Now, a big part of this trial was interesting in that he initially had said, I wasn't there at the time his wife and son were killed. And then investigators found a short video on his son's phone that proved that he was indeed there about 2 minutes before they said the killing happened. So that turned the whole thing. I mean, and they did discuss it with jurors. So we're going to pick this up on the other side. We're going to take a break right now, and we'll pick up with some more headlines on the other side.
Yo, it's Smooth Oz,
and Charlie from the 4th Street Sports Show.
and we are psyched for our second year covering Southern Miss athletics, and we have some new faces joining too.
Join us every Monday at 5 p.m. to hear from myself and Smooth Ost, as well as Dima, Jackson, and Nathan.
88.5 is the place to be on Mondays at 5.
If you or your business is interested in sponsoring programming on WUSM, we'd love to talk to you about the benefits and opportunities. You can get recognition for your business as well as the appreciation of the WUSM audience. The audience realizes your support provides the programming they listen to daily. In addition, our sponsorship rates are very cost-effective and tax-deductible. To learn more, call 601-266-4287.
Okay, we are back. And we were just talking about the Alex Murdaugh verdict that came in this morning. And then during the break, we were chatting a little bit about the train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, which has been all over the news in a variety of different ways. So this was a number of train cars. I don't remember how many, but it was a lot. And it turns out some of them were carrying toxic chemicals, and it sent a big plume of what appeared to be toxic smoke into the air. And now there's a lot of discussion about, well, how do you clean it up? So Jada, what were you thinking about that? That caught your eye a little bit?
Yeah, it did, because the Ohio one wasn't the only one from what I remember seeing. There was also another one that happened in Oregon that was also containing hazardous chemicals. And I just, why are we just now hearing about train derailments? Are they just now a thing that's starting to happen? Why are they happening? Why is it only ones that are containing hazardous chemicals that are spilling into our water? And then, Ohio officials are saying that, the water's fine, it's safe. And, I have seen some videos where the water's not clear. There's fish dead in the water, which, okay, sure, fish are dead, but it's after this train spill. And I want to know more. I plan on digging a little more into it. And I feel like it's not talked about as much as it could be, considering of the hazardous materials.
Yeah, I mean, there's two real issues that have come out with this derailment. It's really kind of fascinating, right? Is the Ohio governor mentioned last week that the train was not listed as carrying hazardous materials, even though it was, because there was only a few cars, quote, a few cars that had hazardous materials. And so the governor called it absurd. What a strange rule that is, that you have to have a majority of hazardous material cars before you say it's carrying it. So that was strange. Mm-hmm. And then the braking system has come up, as in the trains in this country are using a 30, 40-year-old technology to stop the trains. Well, there's been better technology for at least the last 10 mm-hmm. years, but it costs money to retrofit the trains. Mm-hmm. And so the train companies are going, we're not doing it, and nobody's making them do it, right? So what do you think?
I just think that it's interesting. It's like they don't really care enough about the safety of people. Is that the problem here? Like, why wouldn't they? Like, is this a conspiracy happening? Or I don't know.
Man, we got grandpas. We got to be watching out for grandpas, and now we got conspiracies with the federal government. What is going on here? Yeah, so that is that is an ongoing discussion. Is it money, or is it health, or is it safety? Is it money, or is it death? In many ways, right? And that has been an ongoing debate on many public issues, which is why we want to read the news, right? Why the news is important, so we can think about these issues and take part in it. So speaking of crazy conspiracy things going on, so there is a huge debate in Florida right now over higher education. And this is actually starting to roll across the country. So let me read you a headline this is from Inside Higher Ed. So here's how I read the news, which I don't expect anybody else in the whole world to do this. But what I do is in the morning, I have on my little clicker, I have CNN coded in there, MSNBC and Fox and CNBC, which is a financial network. And I just kind of click through and see what everybody's talking about. Then I'll read the New York Times when I get in, and I'll also look at Chronicle and Inside Higher Ed. They're two higher education publications. So this is from Inside Higher Ed. DeSantis higher ed bill heads for the legislature, which doesn't sound very alarming. This is what the bill does. The bill looks to defund diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts at state institutions, concentrate hiring power in the hands of trustees, allow for post-tenure faculty review at any time, and eliminate majors that are focused on race and gender. So in other words, if you're a university in Florida and you have an office of diversity, equity, and inclusion, you could not pay for that with state money.
Yeah, I definitely disagree.
Yeah.
I think that's a really bad idea.
it feels like we're going backwards in time ever since probably 3-4 years ago. It just feels like we keep rolling backwards.
Well, what I have said, it's more like 1956, post Brown versus Board of Education,
Yeah.
where many states, including Mississippi, passed all kinds of laws saying that we were not going to integrate, that we're going to keep segregation. And it does feel, in many ways, going backwards in town. So what do you think? What are you thinking about this? What?
Yeah, I think you can't it feels like they're trying to undo the progress that has been made as far as like diversity and inclusion and adding people. And I mean, that would kind of be really, I even receive a scholarship from a diversity office, so that will also affect the financial perspective of students who are not financially able, who come from some of these lower class populations and things as well, more than just not the funding. So that's kind of a perspective. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that's been the ongoing issue, and that we now see that Iowa has passed a very similar bill. So if it's happened in these two states, which are very conservative, it's likely to hit Mississippi. Everybody thinks it'll hit Mississippi.
I would wonder how that would affect us, since the USM just is appointing a new diversity.
Well, I wanted, so I was going to bring that up. So what do you
Yeah.
think about that? We just appointed a new diversity officer. I assume we're paying this person with state money. So if the governor passes this, if it's introduced and passed in Mississippi, what do? And how do you guys feel about that? How do you guys feel about Mississippi joining this movement toward defunding DEI efforts?
Well, I think it is just going back in time, and I think we should be moving forward as much as possible, and there needs to be people in place that can be there for people. And I don't know what are they going to put in place of that? Is there going to be anything in place, or are people just not going to be able to
So
have any
here's
help?
what a really interesting perspective, right? So the whole reason we have DEI efforts, which has been going on now for a good 10, 12 years in higher ed, is that there is a recognition that higher education has been too exclusionary, is that the faculty tend to hire faculty who look like themselves. Administrators tend to hire administrators who think and look like themselves, right? And the result was you had whole populations of women, gay and lesbian and black Americans, all kinds of folks who were kind of excluded because they weren't part of the system. So the effort of DEI was to, okay, let's open this up, let's bring everybody in, because we're all better off. We have better ideas. The whole organization rises up. That's the theory. The studies are pretty conclusive that indeed is what happens when you do that. And now you guys are telling me it feels like these kinds of bills move us backwards. So what do you replace it with? Well, I think folks like Governor DeSantis, who is a conservative Republican, would say you don't replace it. You replace it with a complete meritocracy, as in the best person gets the job, the best person gets the scholarship, that kind of thing. So what do you think about that argument?
I think there's nobody that's going to keep people in check. There needs to be someone that just makes sure that people get their opportunities. And I don't know.
Well, Laurencia, go ahead.
And I guess that would be a one single population determining who is best.
There you go.
Based on their own culture, their own ideas, their own identity. And so just because what they do is the best doesn't mean somebody else don't deserve their opportunity. So it's one-sided, it's not diverse, which is the importance of a program like this, or departments like this.
Yeah, I think that is the absolute other side of the argument, is who gets to decide what is best, right? So speaking of which, your Mississippi governor did sign this week a bill making it illegal to provide gender-affirming care to transgender teenagers. So it is now illegal to provide anyone under 18 in Mississippi with hormone replacement therapy or surgeries or anything like that. What do you think?
That's a very deep topic. actually when in a sociology class, this was a discussion, and there was a documentary. I can't remember the name of it, but it talked about like how kids, you know, the effects that it was having, whether it was good or bad for the kids, and how sometimes some of them wanted to revert back or certain things. So that's a very sticky topic. I don't feel like I don't know if it should be illegal, but it can be very, very tricky.
So let me throw something at you. So if you're the party that says we're all about freedom, and then you substitute the state's judgment for a parent's judgment, is there a little bit of hypocrisy in there somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, parents should have the decision on what they let their children do, you know, because if that's the point, then they're not even raising them. Technically, the government is.
Well, that is one argument.
I just think the government is just hypocritical. You know, they can go back on everything they do. I think taking back legalization on things doesn't quite make sense because we then lose all of the progress that we have made. This, for me, is a iffy topic just from the standpoint of, okay, yeah, 18 is when you become an adult. So that's when you are able to make those other decisions. But even at 18 in the U.S., you're not able to, you know, do other things at 18 years old. With this gender affirming, the hormones, I'm not quite sure how it works scientifically with your body, but, you know, your brain isn't fully developed until you're 25. So I can understand that consideration, but who is the government to tell me what I can and can't do with my own body and then with my children's body?
Yeah, right. So the state's already turned women into incubators for the state, right? And so now we have these. And Tennessee this week, by the way, passed a law banning public drag shows, making it illegal, making it a misdemeanor to do a drag show in public. Do you care?
It doesn't affect you.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with me or you. No one is harming. That's my biggest issue. If no one's being harmed in anything, why not allow it?
Well, okay, so the one argument is that little Jimmy might be walking by the public square if there's, and a drag show might be going on, and little Jimmy will be scarred for the rest of his life.
Little Jimmy might also walk past gun violence or anything.
Oh, man, isn't that a good point?
That is
wow, that is right. That is right on the nose, right? So there you go. This is the world that we're living in, guys. So why do we care about the news? Is talking about all of these issues, and how are these issues decided, by the way, by politicians, right?
Yeah.
How do we get politicians?
We
vote.
We vote. And how do we know how to vote? We read the news. That's my argument, right? That's my argument. So you guys have been amazing and awesome. I appreciate you being here. So this has been a production of the Student Media Center. Our engineer is Shania Williams. Our producer is Cinnamon Lee, who could not be with us today. And we will be back next week.
This has been News You Need with Dr. Ed Simpson. News You Need airs Friday afternoon at 12:30 on Southern Miss Radio. News You Need is sponsored